Okay, so today we're going to talk about reputation management for small businesses. And this is going to be a little bit different than reputation management for individuals. Also a little bit different from reputation management for professionals who are trying to protect like their name. Today we're going to specifically talk about businesses who have, a company name and they've Googled their business and maybe they see some bad stuff. So can you kind of give me an overview, Matt, of just some general strategies for like a small business that they can start doing or that you would do to help them protect their brand name or to push down negative content about their brand on Google?
Yeah, of course. So it's all about having a strong online presence. A few reasons. Having a strong online presence will help your SEO, your search engine optimization score, to help outrank competitors to drive in new clients. And two, from a reputation management point of view, if you don't have a strong online presence and someone decides to write something defamatory, if there's no competition, it's going to skyrocket to page one. So you want to build out an online presence to prevent any future slanderous attacks. And also, too, it helps, make you look more professional, like the leader in industry, if you have a very filled out online presence. So, obviously a nice, fast loading homepage, user-friendly. Google PageSpeed Insight Scores is it's a free tool Google offers. It will tell you how fast your homepage is, and it'll give you any things you need to fix. Great free tool. Get on all the social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest if it's relevant to your industry. Google Business, get Google Business listing, free, easy. Yelp, if you are amazing at what you do and you're not in a tough industry where people are going to complain, Yelp might be worth it. I usually tell people to stay off Yelp. For example, Yelp's average rating is a 3.5, while Google Business is a 4.3. People just love to complain on Yelp. Luckily, we know a guy who can take care of Yelp situations with complaints, but, he's not that cheap. So, Yelp is probably the best one to avoid, but Google Business is huge. Facebook's good for reviews. Manta, Merchant Circle, Foursquare, a little outdated, but if you're a contractor.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you talk about like Manta, Foursquare, here now you're talking about small business directories.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a massive category that any small business should be getting their business listed in as many of these directories as possible.
Exactly. There's a lot of Angie's. I got a big list in front of me. If you're a contractor, Home Advisor, House, BuildZoom, tons of those for contractors. Trustpilot's a great one for anyone. Ranks really well. BBB accreditation. BBB is definitely, in my opinion, a little outdated, but older demographics still really like BBB. And BBB does rank on page one of Google, so that has an importance there. So call BBB, say you're 1 to 4 employees, because it gives you minimum pricing. It's like $500 a year. They give you accreditation, which is actually kind of a racket. There was a news company that called BBB pretending to be a terrorist organization, and they still got accredited. So everyone gets accredited. And they'll give you an A+ rating, and it helps with complaints, and it helps with that, everything. But the idea is just to get your name onto all these platforms, and it'll help drive in more customers, and it'll help with your SEO.
Right. With the ultimate goal, of course, to be able to protect page one. You want to look good on page one.
Exactly.
Okay, so just to recap, so we're going to take a look at a couple of examples, but to recap, any small business owner should make sure they have a good website, claim their Google business page, do their best to have site links, which help to create a more robust looking profile, get on all the social media, the major social media platforms, and then look for business directories that they can get in. And if they're not already on them, or if they are on them, try to claim their profile and build it out as much as they can.
Yes, use unique content, don't copy and paste. So talk about the company in the third person, 500 words-ish, and make sure you can say the same thing over and over, but in different word format, different word choices.
Right.
And also, it's probably more up the alley of a PR company like us, but some news articles and press releases help a lot too. If you have a promotion going, if you sponsor a charity that's local to you guys, if you have a milestone celebrating 10 years in business this summer, something like that, any story really helps. You can create a news article about it.
Well, there's a lot of things there that a small business owner could do themselves, and then some things that if they wanted us to help carry those strategies out for them, in addition to giving them some great PR, maybe some interviews for their company that would really help them look great online.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at a couple of examples I pulled up on a computer here. Just want to say these were pulled completely at random. These are not clients. I just got on
Privacy is paramount for us.
What's that?
Privacy is paramount. We're not going to be divulging our client list.
Yeah, so I literally just got onto Google and I searched for Dallas small businesses.
Okay.
And the first one I saw was a company called White Rock Soap Gallery. And so I will put their screenshot up on the page as we're talking about it here. But as we go down the page, the first thing that I notice, of course, is their website. And then we see these site links here, the products, the candles, store locations, and gifts. You get site links when you have a really good website. And you can request site links from Google, but Google will decide whether they want to pick them or not. The algorithm picks them. And they're the pages that they think are like the most important pages on your website. So if you build out a good website for your business with strong content, it's likely that you're going to have these site links. And this is helpful because it makes you look good, number one, and it takes up a huge amount of real estate on page one. So White Rock Soap Gallery, they sell soaps and candles and things, it looks like. They're a retail business in Dallas with multiple locations. And as we scroll down, we can see that they've claimed all their Google business pages. That's the next thing I see. And then as we go down a little further, I can see, through the exact same things that you just mentioned. I see a Facebook page, which they're active on. I see a couple of small business listings. I see it as downtownmckinney.org. So that's a really kind of a neat one because it's just a local business directory and they're listed in there. And if it were me, I would contact them if they don't have like a full robust listing with pictures and a description. I would see if that's possible, especially if it's free.
Yeah.
So as we scroll down the rest of the page one here, I don't want to do all the talking, by the way. Feel free to interrupt me or chime in.
No, I agree. They look great. They're not hitting every site that I would want them to hit, but they got the big ones on at least. They got good ratings. They got good news articles. But, there's always definitely room for growth with a company like this. And keep in mind, this is the #1 rated website for Dallas small business. So they obviously have a very high domain authority. Google's putting a big emphasis on them. But even they have room to grow.
And another interesting one here, and this of course applies to retail, is that I see this grandscape.com, which just did a quick look. It looks like that's actually the landlord. That's the tenant where where at least one of their locations is physically located. So if you run a retail business and maybe you're in a strip mall, if that strip mall has a website, you as a tenant may be able to get a listing on their website, which would be great for your business because a website like that's probably going to have a lot of authority. It's going to rank well, and you'd have control of the page, which would be outstanding. Do see Instagram and LinkedIn, and then of course a couple shopping guides here, Amazon and Gift Shop's Guide. So these guys are actually looking really good online. And, a good strategy often is to Google your small business name, see what you see, but then maybe Google the name of a couple of your competitors and see what business directories are ranking well for them and go get yourself in those directories.
Another good strategy too is Google search your name plus the word reviews. A lot of people search that way and make sure it's all 5 stars and good platforms. If you have a listing, for example, that has a 4-star and all the other listings are 5 stars, then hire us or someone similar to us to do a suppression campaign to get that to page 2 or 3. So the idea is you want all your good platforms on page 1 and any bad listings on page 2, page 3.
Yeah, that's a great thought. Every business should be Googling themselves plus the word reviews, because that is how people are considering doing business with you. That's how they search.
They're always looking for dirt on a company.
Yeah. All right, well, let's look at case study number 2. Again, chosen completely at random. I just looked for concrete companies in Nashville, and I pulled up this company called Crawford Concrete. So if you Google Crawford Concrete Nashville, that's the listing I'm looking at. And what's interesting for these guys is it looks like, I don't even know if they're an active business because they don't even have a website, it doesn't look like. The first thing I see is Facebook, which again speaks to your point of making sure you're getting on the major social media.
Yes.
I do see their Google business page, but there's no link here for
their website is down.
Yeah, maybe it's down. Yeah.
They got what I was talking about, they got a 1-star on Yelp as it typically goes. So if I were them, I would get rid of that Yelp listing. But then things look good. You got LinkedIn, which is definitely one you need. LinkedIn is also for businesses, not just for individuals. They have 2 different options.
Yeah, good point. So you can actually claim like a business page on LinkedIn, right? You give a whole profile of your business, your employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should have one for your business and at least one for each of your executives or people forward-facing.
And then next thing I see here is BBB, which we talked about. Mm-hmm. Manta is another one. So there's really 2 kinds of directories is the way I see them. There are directories that they just automatically scrape information from the web. And then before you know it, you have a listing on this directory. Yelp is like that. I see they have MapQuest. MapQuest is like that. I think Yellow Pages also is like that. So some of these, you're going to appear on a lot of these directories no matter what. Some of these directories will allow you for free to, claim your profile and build it out. And it's so important because there's a big difference between like a Yellow Pages directory that just shows, maybe a business name, address, and a phone number compared to a Yellow Pages listing that shows business name, address, phone number, website, description, pictures, hours. All that information is so much more useful for people who use Yellow Pages to find a business to work with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just get as much information you can on the page, upload pictures, promotions, keep active, respond to people. That all really helps with the SEO and just with customer service.
And the cool thing about these, like the business directories, the social media, a lot of small business owners might say, well, geez, I don't really have time to do this. But if you have, a marketing person, if you have even a receptionist mm-hmm. can be trained, while he or she is taking calls or maybe doing some admin, they can go in and claim these profiles, update the profiles, respond to reviews, add stuff on social media, and all the cumulative work that goes on there all helps those profiles and social media sites rank better and look better.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. These companies make it really easy to sign up for them nowadays. They're always trying to upsell you and they want your money, so they make it really easy.
Yeah. Well, this has been a pretty good overview. I hope that small business owners find it healthy and helpful. Anything else to add?
No, thank you for having me. Pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Take care.